Okay, so now I'm going to do a similar little trick here on the tail. The tail here, let's hide my body again. This time around I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to go into create and I'm going to create a CV curve tool. And as I do this, I'm going to hold down V and I'm going to click on each one of these joints. Sometimes I like this just a little bit better. And I'm going to hit enter. So now I got a curve that follows along there. I might even remove its pivot point right there. And I'm going to call this the tail curve. Tail underscore curve. Great. So I got a good name on it. And now I want to take this curve and I want to zip over into Dynamics, and I'm going to go into the N-Hair menu, and there's a thing here, make selected curves dynamic. Yay! Output derb curve, attach curve to selected surfaces. We don't have anything selected. That's interesting. I've never noticed that before. Snap curve to base surface. Okay, collide with mesh. Yay! You can make it collide with mesh if you want to, but I'm going to say no! And that should be good. And when I hit make curves dynamic, actually just one second, I'm going to undo that one just so you can see what happens. Hypergraph, and I find my curve. Yay! Tail curve. And when I go in and I make that dynamic, if I go into hair and I go into make selected curves dynamic, okay, we get a hair system, we get a nucleus, we get a hair system here that gives us a little follicle. You'll see if I zoom in, hair system follicle group or something like that. And there's my little follicle and there's my tail curve. And if I was to press play right now, play, you can see the curve kind of freaking out right here. And there it is right there. If I go into the attribute editor and I find the hair system shape, no, I think this is follicle shape 1. There we go. It says start direction. Okay, point lock both ends. I'm going to say lock it on the base. Okay, and when I do that, now when I hit play, it falls down. Yay! Boop, boop, boop. And I have this going super, super fast. You know, you could go into, where is it? There's a little button down in here. It gets me to the animation preferences. It says play every frame is on. I need that. But if I go down a bit further, its maximum speed is free. I'm going to say maximum go to real time. And when I hit save, there we go. So it slows down just a little bit. Okay, and that's cool. This curve here, though, what I want it to do is I want it to push the bones around. So, what I'm going to do is if I go into, go back out of Dynamics, and I go into Animation, if I go into Skeleton and IK Spline Handle Tool, and this time I'm going to turn off Auto Create Curve. And so when I go over here and I click on this first joint, boop, and then I click on the last, oh you bastard, boop, and I click on the last joint, and then I click on this, boop, you get that. And I just got to pause for, okay, and there we're back. If I go in and, let's get rid of this. Now, the curve, the dynamic curve, is moving the bones around. Yay! Okay, that's cool. And so there's my little hair system curve. And actually, I'm just going to move the pivot point. DV, so it's there. Okay, so if I press play, you'll notice I move the hair system around. Actually, why is that not letting me do anything? Stop. Go back here. Okay, this is going to move my joints. Doesn't really want to undo very well. There we go. And if I take this one here and press play, and if I have the move tool on, when I move that, you're going to see it falls around. Okay, great. And what this means is that I can take this hair system here and I could control the back tail. I can go in and find a way to constrain this to, say, this controller or something like that. I might, let's see, which way do I want to go? Do I want to constrain it to a joint, or do I want to constrain it to this? Well, we might. The big thing is, though, maybe I want this thing to kind of keep that rough shape here, more or less, and only wiggle at certain times. And what I can do to achieve that, actually I'm just going to move this pivot point, boop, there, is when I grab the hair system and I go into the attribute editor, you'll find this. If I go here, I am looking for hair system, follicle shape here. And if I go down here a bit more, there's stiffness, traction scale, overrides. And where is the thing? It's right there, start curve, attract. I guess I go into the hair system and I go into dynamic properties. And when I look down here, a thing called hair start curve attract. So I can put that up. I don't want to have it too high, but just enough, see when I press play, okay, so that it kind of drifts a little bit, but it stays there. I can have a bit more control. I could even put like controllers for each one of these joints so I could rotate them by hand. But now you'll see that because I've got that, whenever I whoop, rotate this back hip, I get a little bit of secondary motion. Yay! And it wiggles around. Okay, so I'm going to stop that. And if I was really keen on this, I could go in here and I'll put this up to, say, 200. And I'm going to take the hair system here. Actually, I'm going to take the, let's take this back end curve, and I take the hair system and I do some kind of constrain, parent constrain. Yay! And if I go into back over here to End Dynamics, and in the N here, no, I go to End Solver, and I go into interactive playback. I'm just going to put that on the shelf here so I can see it really fast. When I grab this and I wiggle it, I can see the tail moving around. So I can get little bits of animation. And I can play with a little bit of the start curve attract and get a slightly different result every time. Okay, play with the start curve attract. And right now you can see it's a bit too wiggly, so I might have to make that a bit stiffer. But I can get a bunch of free animation. Yay! So I always hate how you have to hit that back there, and then you get it, and it's like, okay. Okay, so there's my little tail. And what time we got? 8 minutes, so I'm gonna stop this one here.